Assalamu alaikum students. How are you? Hope you are fine. This is history subject and the chapter is religious reformers in India 18th and 19th century. This is the third topic from the chapter religious reformers and this is the topic is Haji Shariatullah. In last two topics, we have studied about Shah Waliullah and Sayyid Ahmad Shahid. And this time we are going to study about Haji Shariatullah. So Haji Shariatullah was the third religious reformer and this is the image of Haji Shariatullah you can see. Let's first talk about the biography of Haji Shariatullah. Haji Shariatullah was born in East Bengal. Unlike Shah Waliullah and Sayyid Ahmad Shahid, he was born in very remote part and eastern part of India, which was the East Bengal. Although he had known about the writings of Shah Waliullah because he was born in 1781 and he was born after Shah Waliullah, after the death of Shah Waliullah, but he had come across the books and the teachings and the services of Shah Waliullah. Therefore, he was also having tendency to serve Islam. So he was born in a village of Shamail in Faridpur district of Bengal. This is the map of Faridpur district in East Bengal, and he was born over there. And then he received early education in his village, and after receiving early education of Islam, he then went to Hijaz. Hijaz is an area which is the western part of Saudi Arabia. So he went to Hijaz in some other Arab territories to learn the Islamic education, and then he returned from Hijaz and then he moved to Mecca where he learned further Islamic education. So in 1820 he moved to Mecca. In Mecca his teacher was Tahir al-Sumbal. He was a very important and well-known religious reformer, and Tahir al-Sumbal was his teacher who was motivating Sayyid Ahmad Shahi, motivating Haji Shariatullah also to serve Islam. And it was the time when Tahir al-Sumbal also motivated Haji Shariatullah to do some work for the people of his own village and for the people of India. And one more very important personality at that time was Sheikh Abdul Wahab. He was known as Sheikh Abdul Wahab Najdi of Saudi Arabia. So this is the image of Sheikh Abdul Wahab Najdi, and Haji Shariatullah was very much influenced of the teachings of Sheikh Abdul Wahab, the beliefs and ideologies of Sheikh Abdul Wahab. Sheikh Abdul Wahab was a social reformer, or you can say religious reformer of the of Saudi Arabia, who tried to remove the un-Islamic practices which were very much common in Saudi Arabia at that time. So Haji Shariatullah was influenced by the beliefs of Sheikh Abdul Wahab. Sheikh Abdul Wahab is also known as the founder of Wahhabi movement or Wahhabism, which is still practiced in some of the countries and in Pakistan also. Wahhabism means the pure, ideologies in accordance with Quran and Sunnah, and nothing out of it. So therefore, the beliefs of uh, you know this man who was very well-known religious reformer of Saudi Arabia, Abdul Wahab Najdi. His teachings and his ideologies also motivated Sayyid Haji Shariatullah. And then we see that Haji Shariatullah returned his homeland and after returning to his homeland he was surprised to see that people were very much involved in un-Islamic activities, and they were far away from the Islamic practices and even from the Islamic duties. And the most importantly, the people of East Bengal were away from five-time prayers. So he was surprised when he went to his village, and then once he said azan, so no one from his village turned towards namaz, and nobody came to perform namaz. So therefore this surprised him. And one more incident was there, that after the death of his uncle, after the death of the uncle of Haji Shariatullah, the people of his village were fighting over how to perform the janaza prayer. So therefore the people were doing different things, and the people were talking differently, which was very much un-Islamic. So therefore Haji Shariatullah tried to reform the society of East Bengal. Let's talk about the beliefs of Haji Shariatullah, that what did Haji Shariatullah believe about the people and about the society of Bengal. A very important thing here, I would like to draw your attention towards the condition of Bengal. As we know that when the Britishers were ruling, so the Bengal was the most important province the Britishers had focused, and the British had made Fort William over there also in Calcutta. And then the British had focused on the agricultural activities of East Bengal, and from the agricultural products the British were exporting things from India to the Europe. So therefore the farmers of Bengal had to pay high taxes also, and the farmers of Bengal were also forced to plant the crop which the British were asking them to do so. So therefore when Haji Shariatullah observed, so he believed the following points, that he believed that the rule of non-Muslims over the country had made the condition of Muslims miserable. Haji Shariatullah knew that British and Hindus, they were ruling the country. He did not consider that Hindus themselves are being ruled by the Britishers, but he was with this point, that the Hindus are also ruling along with the British over Muslims, and Muslims are the only community which is suppressed and which is in problem. He also believed that at this time where Hindus and the British are in majority, like their rule was in majority, and although the Muslims were in majority in East Bengal, but the rule was of the Britishers and Hindus. Therefore, Haji Shariatullah asked the people not to perform Friday and Eid prayers in Bengal, because the place was Darul Harab. Darul Harab is a term which is used to uh, identify and indicate a place where there is the rule of non-Muslims. So we will read this further in our next chapter, which is the Khilafat movement. During the Khilafat movement, one more religious scholar had termed India as Darul Harab, and he was Maulana Abdul Bari. So this you will study later on. The other beliefs were that Haji Shariatullah also observed that the Muslim community was away from the real Islamic practices, and the Muslims were doing un-Islamic practices because of the influence of Hindus. Like he thought that the Muslims of Bengal were very much intermingled with Hindus, and due to this involvement, the rituals and the religious practices of Hinduism were taken by the Muslims of Bengal, and therefore Haji Shariatullah wanted to remove these practices from the Muslims. And one more thing was there, that the Muslims of Bengal were involved in black magic and the superstitious things. So black magic, which is Islamic, and this is not allowed in Islam. The Muslims of Bengal were doing these things. So Haji Sharifullah asked the Muslims not to do the black magic and any other thing which Islam is not allowing for. And this was also a big challenge for Haji Shariatullah to stop the Muslims from doing this. He had to face the uh, you know uh, some type of objection and criticism from their own Muslim people, the rich Muslim, who were over there, and the Hindus also criticized these ideologies of Haji Shariatullah. But Haji Shariatullah was firm and determined to reform the society, therefore, he did not take care of any one of these things. And one more thing, what he believed that the Muslims of East Bengal were very poor. The only economic activity with the Muslims of East Bengal was to work on the farmlands of Hindus and the British. The British were the landlords, and Hindus were also landlords in East Bengal, and the Muslims farmers had to work on their farms. Moreover, the Muslim farmers who had their farms, they were not allowed to grow the crop which they wanted. But the crop what the British wanted, the Muslim farmers had to grow that crop on their, farms. So therefore, the Muslims of East Bengal were suppressed, and the British and Hindu landlords were torturing them and paying them very low wages if they were working on the farms of Hindus and British landlords. A very important issue at that time was that it was for the first time that the British had discovered that the land of East Bengal is very much suitable for planting indigo. Indigo is a type of plant which is used for making blue color and blue dyes. And blue dyes, then these colors are the blue color. It was used for coloring clothes and other things. So therefore, the British uh, had seen that the indigo should be planted over there on the land of the East Bengal, and then the British exported this indigo to the European countries, on high prices. So therefore, the farmers of Bengal were forced to plant the indigo and not any other crop in their land, so that the Britishers should export the indigo, or the blue dye to the European countries for earning money for themselves. So the farmers in East Bengal could not grow food crops for themselves, and this was the reason that there was famine and shortage of food in Bengal, and the farmers of Bengal, they were forced by the British not to plant the food crops in their land. So this was actually whatever was going on over there. The Muslim farmers, he also believed, were very weak morally, because the Muslims were not performing namaz, roza, and other things. Therefore, the Muslims farmers, they were morally weak, and they cannot raise their voice against Hindu and British landlords. Like if the British and Hindu landlords were giving low wages and low salaries to the Muslims, then the Muslims could not raise their voice against this injustice. Haji Sharifullah also founded a movement, and this movement was named as Faraizi movement. And this Faraizi movement, he believed that would correct the ideology of the Muslims, and it will bring the Muslims towards the practices of Islam. So these were the beliefs of Haji Sharifullah. Let's talk about the services and works of Haji Sharifullah. As we know that Haji Sharifullah was against the false and the superstitious beliefs which were prevailed in the Muslim society of East Bengal. Therefore, Haji Shariatullah, he asked the Muslims to stop doing such practices, and he also asked the Muslims that black magic and other things are unlawful and un-Islamic. Therefore, the Muslims should not do this. One of the objective of the Farazi movement was to stop Muslims from un-Islamic practices. Haji Shiratullah also disliked, the a very important, religious practice which was going on in subcontinent, and this was the mysticism. So Haji Shiratullah was against the practice of mysticism and against the uh, you know system of peer and murid, like the master and disciple in Islam. And like as the Muslims, they you know they showed devotion and they revered one personality, and that personality could become their icon and symbol, and then the Muslims could do whatever that person was saying. So Haji Shiratullah thought that this system of Piri and Muridi, master and disciple, and the mysticism is against the teachings of Quran and Hadith. So therefore he desired that the Muslims of East Bengal should not do such type of practices, but they should follow the real practices of Quran and Hadith, and whatever has been stated in the Quran and Hadith should purely be practiced. So this was his service which he provided, and he tried to reform the society and correct the beliefs of the Muslims of East Bengal about this. Haji Shiratullah also declared jihad against the non-Muslims and against the British rulers, and he said that this time jihad is inevitable. And he did not, ask the Muslims to do jihad with arms and ammunitions, but he asked the Muslims of East Bengal to raise their voice at least against the injustices of the British and Hindu landlords and their against their injustices. So this was the jihad, which is called jihad bil lisan, or by raising voice against the infidels. And High Sharitullah's Farazi movement, it was the you can say it was successful at that time when Haji Shiratullah himself was, uh, enforcing this movement. And the Faraizi movement also emphasized on performing Faraiz, religious duties imposed by the Allah Subhanahu wa Taala and His Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And the followers of Haji Shiratullah were also called the Faraizis. So this Faraizi movement was a very systematic movement, and the other works of service and services of Haji Sharitullah are that when Haji Sharitullah observed that the Muslims are in very bad condition and they are morally very degraded in the society, so Haji Sharitullah asked the Muslims to raise their voice against the low wages of which are being paid to them, to the Muslim farmers, by the British, and the Muslims at least should ask for the high wages. If the British are not paying high wages to the Muslims, then the Muslims should stop working on the farmlands of the British and they should go on strike. The Muslims did the same, but for the first time, the British accepted the demands of the Muslims, but later on, the British then started to torture the Muslims more and more, because the courts were in favor of the British and the courts gave verdict that the Britishers are right, and because they are masters, so the policies the Britishers have designed for the farmers, the policies are correct. The Fraizi movement also infused a spirit among Muslim peasants, and the Muslim peasants, they, as we have discussed, they were gathered for their rights. The Hindu Zamindar started to harass Haji Shariatullah, and some false cases were filed against Haji Shariatullah in the courts, that Haji Shariatullah was inciting the Muslims and he was motivating the Muslims against the Britishers. The British and Hindus also blamed Haji Shariatullah, as Haji Shariatullah wants to set up his own empire and his own rule, like Titumir, what Titumir had done in West Bengal. And Titumir, let me first introduce Titumir to you. Titumir was, he was not a religious reformer, but he was a jihadist, and he was having such ideas against the Britishers that the armed struggle is necessary against the British and the Muslims should do armed struggle. So in West Bengal, he constructed his own bamboo fort, and he collected 15,000 soldiers with him who were the Muslims from West Bengal, and he fought with the Britishers. He started armed struggle against the British by forming his own empire in his own area. He wanted to implement the laws of Islam, but he was defeated by the British. Likewise, the British blamed Haji Shariatullah that he is doing the same what Tito Mir is doing, and therefore the court exiled Haji Shariatullah from his district, and Haji Shariatullah was asked to move from his district to the other place. So Haji Shariatullah remained in exile for some years, and then he came back to his birthplace Faridpur, and in his birthplace Faridpur, Shamail is the area in Faridpur where he was born. So he died at the same place. So Haji Shariatullah was extremely you know sad about and regretful about the condition of the Muslims at that time. Then Haji Shariatullah died in 1840, and after the death of Haji Shariatullah, his son Dadu Miah, he continued. His son, whose name was Mohsinuddin, he continued the Faraizi movement, but Faraizi movement could not be successful because the British, they played conspiracies against Mohsinuddin also, and his son also died without seeing the success of Faraizi movement. Now let's see what were the characteristics of the Faraizi movement which Haji Shariatullah started. Faraiz, as you know, that Faraizi movement, the name has come from Faraiz, the duties, and Faraizi means a movement which was calling the Muslims toward the Faraiz. So therefore it was named the Faraizi movement, or the movement for duties. There are some particular characteristics of Faraizi movement. The main objective of it was to unite Muslim farmers to fight against the British administrators and Hindu landlords, to protect the Muslims from obsession of supernatural ideas, like to stop Muslims from black magic, to direct the Muslims not to perform Eid and Friday prayers in Bengal because it was Darul Harab, like to ask the Muslims that not to perform, to show the British that the rule was not good and the Muslims will not perform the prayers as a protest. He also opposed music and dancing at marriage ceremonies, which was common by the Muslim families at that time. He also tried to define the relations of master and disciple as a teacher, as we have discussed that he was against the disciple and the teacher practice and this system. This was a particular system, although he was not against for someone being religious teacher and the disciple, but he was against the system in which some malpractices were there. Haji Shariatullah died, and after his death, as we have discussed, his son Mohsinuddin continued the Faraizi movement, but he also failed, and the Faraizi movement could not be successful. Now let's have a recap what we have done in this topic. Shortly, we discussed that Haji Shariatullah was born in East Bengal. Unlike Shah Waliullah and Sayyid Ahmad Shahid, Shah Waliullah was born in Delhi, Sayyid Ahmad Shahid was born in Rai Bareli. And Haji Shariatullah was influenced by Muhammad bin Abdul Wahab Najdi, and Haji Shariatullah founded Faraizi movement to motivate the Muslims of Bengal to motivate them to perform Islamic duties. He was also blamed by the Britishers and Hindus for setting up his rule like Titumir. He was exiled by the court and he returned to his birthplace and died in 1940. His only son, Mia Mohsinuddin or Dadu Mia, he continued the movement but he also failed. But the people afterwards, the people of East Bengal, then after his death, they appreciated his work, and apostolic stamp was also issued by the local government with the image of Haji Shariatullah, and a district has also been named after Haji Shariatullah in East Bengal. So these were the things which we have discussed today about Haji Shariatullah. Let's see the assignment questions. The assignment questions are the three. Number one assignment question is of 4 marks, and this is who was Mohsinuddin or Dadumia, and the other question is 7 marks question, which is why did Haji Shariatullah found Faraizi movement, and the third question is about all three religious reformers, because now we have completed the three religious reformers and three topics in which we have studied about Shah Waliullah, Sayyid Ahmad Shahid and Haji Shariatullah. Now we can write down the answer comparing the services of these three religious reformers. So 14 marks question is about comparison of these three religious reformers. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum.